Welcome to the virtual lunch. Today is Friday, February 11th, and this is virtual lunch number 498. Our guest today is Jay Keller, the CEO of Casetext, and this is part of our continuing series on superior legal writing with Brief Catch. Jay, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining.
Good to see you again.
Tell us about your background and the Casetext story.
So I actually began really as a coder first. And so I grew up building software and building websites. And to be honest, I thought that's what I was going to do. I almost didn't go to college because my dad didn't go to college and he started an internet business. So why would I do that? I was coding and I ended up falling in love with law and policy through speech and debate. So you can imagine how cool I was in high school as the speech and debate and coding guy. But I ended up falling in love with law and policy and going to law school and having a pretty traditional legal career. But in every single job that I held in practicing law, and that's mostly on the litigation side, whether it was during law school internships at the White House counsel's office or working for Governor Deval Patrick, who's just awesome, all those experiences, I could not help but think every time, oh my God, walking into the law firm and using technology here is, first of all, like walking into a time portal that zoom me back 10 years. Everything is slower. I spent a lot of my time doing the things I did not go to law school to do, trying to dig up cases or go through a lot of discovery as opposed to creative writing. I kept on feeling like, hey, I think there's a way that the technology that I know how to build might make a big impact on legal. In fact, I thought it was odd that if I wanted to find a Thai restaurant near me, there's the best technology in the world for that. But if I wanted to represent a client in a $1 billion matter, then the interface I'd be using would be one of the worst. And if I wanted to find something of importance, it might take me hours and I might stay up till 3 or 4 a.m. That's a large part of why I thought, okay, well, though I love being a lawyer, and I'm one of those few lawyers turned entrepreneurs who did not run from law. I actually really enjoyed the practice, but I really felt pretty strongly that there is a way that we can apply some of the stuff that I had learned growing up to make the lives of lawyers better. Casetext has actually evolved and grew over time. From the very beginning, the mission wasn't really around legal research and legal writing, which is definitely what we are best known for today. The real core mission, what we're really trying to do, is taking almost every single piece of the legal workflow, and we're specifically and especially focused on litigators, and trying to apply both automation technologies and in some cases artificial intelligence to see how we might automate certain things so lawyers never have to think about them at all. And for the things we can't automate, where can we support lawyers so that they could do a task that may have taken 15 hours in 5 or 3 or 1? That's the long-term direction of where we're going. For those who don't know anything about it, our core platform that most people know us for is around legal research, writing, and also general search. And so some of these pieces will feel very familiar to folks who know tools like Westlaw or LexisNexis or Bloomberg Law, in that you can execute searches against a database of cases, statutes, rules, and regulations. You can do a lot of other functionality within it. And at the same time, there are some parts that will feel unfamiliar and delightful and new. Instead of searching by Booleans, which you can do in the system, you can also just write out the statement you wish was supported by law, and it will understand what you mean and try to find a best site for that. Even if the judge didn't use any of the words that you used, it will understand what you mean and find a match for you and say, here's what we think the best site is, a feature called parallel search. Or even if beyond that, there's a feature called Compose that will help you essentially write the first draft of a brief in just a few clicks, laying out the legal standard, the framework for your jurisdiction with great support from case law, and take a process that, at least for me, if I was putting together a difficult motion for summary judgment, the legal research process of it may itself be a 20 or 30 or 40 hour piece. It now happens in a matter of minutes. This is one of our newest and beta features called WeSearch. And it's a beta feature that's currently only being used right now, mostly by very, very large law firms for a variety of use cases like the ones I mentioned. That's going to be rolled out to all of our customers very soon on a self-serve basis. Maybe it's no surprise I end up in legal research and litigation. As I've grown up as both a lawyer and an entrepreneur, you see that there are many more sides of it. I do think that there is a substantial place for tools that help you with the administration of your law firm, for example, that help organize your internal documents, that help do things post-filing for documents, to help on the transactional side. It wasn't until I was an entrepreneur myself that I really respected and understood what transactional attorneys do. And I'm on the phone with them at least once every week and really respect and admire their work. If you are working with a lawyer with access to a lot of human capital, a lot of human resources, and a lot of money to get the best tools, research technology, and e-discovery technology, they can at times present a much better case than the lawyer who does not have as many resources in terms of people and money to spend on the best tools. And I felt as a clerk that there were obvious moments where, for example, somebody was facing deportation. So they're up against the government, which has pretty heavy resources, and they are represented by oftentimes great lawyers, but who just are representing people of relatively low income. It's themselves can't charge high rates and therefore can't put together a team of 10 associates to research an issue to death. And I felt as a clerk that if I didn't do a bit of the extra research to really get to the bottom of it, that the government's position in many of these lawsuits would feel a lot better. And it's not because it was in fact what justice demanded and where the truth lied. It's because they had more resources to better represent themselves. What I believe you're going to see across the industry is the fields of machine learning and artificial intelligence really challenge what we assume are the things that are necessarily human as part of the workflow and push the boundaries of what pieces can be done on a semi-automated basis by machines, which is to say, I'll get into this in a little bit, but it will never be at a place, I believe, where the human lawyer will be taken completely out of the loop for almost anything. Specifically, what parts are going to continue to be necessarily human versus the parts that will be automated or semi-automated. The main places where technology will make a major impact are on information retrieval. So looking up cases, looking up information in an e-discovery set, reviewing a massive database of contracts. Technology will get better and better at doing things like you ask it a question and it won't just find the right responses for you. It'll actually draft a response to your question as if it was a human writing a memo. We're going to get there over the next 5 years based on what I've seen so far. The problem with what sometimes is called retrieval augmented generation of text is that sometimes it hallucinates. So it'll make up facts that sound right but are wrong. So it's obviously unacceptable for a professional standard, right? But you would get in the next 5 years a third-year associate quality first draft of a memo responsive to a question. For example, can you please find me all the emails between these two people that discuss the topic of the price of Meta stock? It will just say, here's all the emails I found. Technology is going to take some of the even more rote aspects of formatting your brief for a particular court. On the litigation side, similar things around execution of contracts and checking of contracts, all those things will be more handled by machines. The place that will be more human includes strategy. The machine can tell me arguments I can make, which arguments should I make, persuasive writing, and putting in a voice that matches what you think will be persuasive to a judge or that you think will be more clearly understood in a contract. Strategy from an element, not just a writing element, but from an overall case perspective, not can I file this brief, but should I file this brief? Not can I put this term in the contract, but should I, from a business perspective? And there are also going to be some pieces of the client relationship, obviously you can't outsource that. And then finally, there are going to be parts of more traditional oral advocacy and deposition taking. So it could be assisted, but actually choosing when to object, how to object, what to say in your opening statement or closing statement. All that stuff, I believe, is going to be within the realm of the human. And all that stuff, I don't think is going to go away from technology. A lot of the firms we work with, for example, have very big banking clients. And though they are using our technology for uploading a million documents into it and running these AI searches against it, it needs to be on premises or else they just can't use it. And it's not in the cloud yet. They're hyper concerned about any information leaking from even just their documents to the outside world. Technology that enables lawyers to win and represent their clients better ultimately wins over. There's two forces, right? There's the conservatism and the concerns about privacy. And of course, representing your client best is by definition not leaking all the information online by accident.
Jake Keller, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
And
well done, Jake.
Later.
That was a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks so much, of course, to Briefcatch for supporting our series on superior legal writing. And great to see everyone. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.